Welcome back to Two Robots Talking, where we take your fascinating piles of research and try to make sense of it all.
Yeah, we sift through all those articles and papers and notes you send us and try to pull out the most interesting and insightful bits.
And today's deep dive is it's a really intriguing one. We're asking the question, can ChatGPT actually predict the future?
Yeah, it sounds like science fiction, but you sent us some research that really suggests it might be possible.
Yeah, and in some pretty surprising ways.
So the researchers behind these papers, they took a really clever approach. They tested ChatGPT on events that happened after its training data cutoff,
Oh, okay.
which was September 2021.
So ChatGPT couldn't have possibly known about these things in advance?
Exactly. So this created kind of a ground truth to compare its predictions against. And they tested all sorts of things, the 2022 Oscars, economic data, things that unfolded well after ChatGPT's knowledge was sort of frozen in time.
Okay, so let's start with the Oscars. So the researchers found that ChatGPT-4, it was shockingly accurate at predicting the winners for 4 major acting categories: Best Actor, Best Actress, Supporting Actor, and Supporting Actress.
Yeah, the accuracy rates were really impressive, particularly for Best Actor. I think it was something like 100% certainty.
Yeah.
Will Smith's win for King Richard, remember?
Yeah.
It was wild to think that an AI could have predicted that, especially given all the buzz and speculation surrounding that particular Oscars season,
Right. Like there was a lot going on.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. They discovered that the way they prompted ChatGPT was crucial to its predictive abilities.
Okay.
So instead of just asking directly, like who will win Best Actor, they instructed it to tell a story set in the future where characters are discussing the Oscars as if they had already happened.
Wait. So they had it rate like a little screenplay where people were like, "Oh yeah, remember when so and so won?" And that somehow made it better at predicting the winners.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
That's wild.
So this narrative prompting style, it yielded much more accurate predictions than simply asking ChatGPT for a straight answer.
Yeah.
It was like unlocking some hidden potential within the AI,
Right.
tapping into the power of storytelling,
So why would that be? Do we know why narratives seem to work so well in this context?
Well, the research papers offer a few possible theories. One possibility is that it somehow bypasses OpenAI's built-in guardrails against making direct predictions about the future. Kind of like safety protocols designed to prevent misuse.
So by framing the question as a story, you're kind of tricking it in a way.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one interpretation. But another theory, which I find even more intriguing, is that narratives tap into a deeper cognitive process within ChatGPT.
Okay.
Like maybe framing information within a story allows the AI to synthesize and extrapolate data in a way that mirrors how our brains make predictions.
Yeah. So it's not just about like working around some kind of rule. It's about engaging a different way of thinking.
Precisely. And this raises some really fascinating questions about how artificial intelligence processes information and whether it might be developing its own form of intuition. Or at least a way of connecting the dots that we're only just beginning to grasp.
This is blowing my mind a little bit here. So ChatGPT aces the acting categories, but there's a twist, right? What about Best Picture?
Ah, yes. Curiously, it totally missed the mark on Best Picture. And the researchers, they speculated that this might be due to the sheer number of nominees in that category, 10, compared to 5 for the acting awards.
Oh.
Yeah. Statistically, it's a much tougher prediction to make.
So maybe it's just a matter of probability, like more options, harder to hit the target even for a powerful AI.
Right.
That's a very reasonable assumption. But it does highlight the fact that ChatGPT, despite its impressive capabilities, it isn't infallible.
There are limits to its predictive powers. And sometimes those limits might be rooted in something as simple as statistical probability.
Right. So it's not magic.
No magic here.
It's a reminder that even the most advanced technology, it's still bound by certain constraints.
Yeah, whether they're, mathematical or even ethical.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and it's something we really need to keep in mind as we continue to explore the potential and the limitations of AI.
Okay. So we've seen how ChatGPT fares with Hollywood predictions, but what about something with a little more real world impact? Like Like, what about the economy? So from Hollywood, the researchers, they turned their attention to Wall Street.
Yeah, much more serious stuff.
Yeah, they wanted to see if ChatGPT could predict economic indicators, specifically like inflation and unemployment rates for 2022.
Right, and they use the same approach, testing both those direct questions and the narrative prompts
Okay.
to see which one yielded more accurate predictions.
Okay, and did the narrative, like, did that magic work again?
In some cases, yeah, it really did. The researchers found that ChatGPT was, I guess you could say, more willing to make predictions when the narrative involved, like, a speech by Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just any story. It seems like the context of the narrative actually matters.
Yeah, exactly. It's as if ChatGPT is more inclined to generate these predictions when it believes the speaker has the authority and the access to information, relevant to the topic at hand.
So it's picking up on the fact that Jerome Powell is, he's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy.
And it comes to economic insights.
Exactly. And it's just fascinating to see how ChatGPT might be making these connections and drawing inferences, based on its training data. It's not just about the words themselves.
Right.
It's about understanding the nuances of context and the relationships between these different entities.
But didn't they throw like a curveball into the mix? I vaguely remember something about the Ukraine invasion.
Yeah, they did. To make things even more challenging, they added information about the 2022 Ukraine invasion to that Powell speech prompt.
Okay.
And in some cases, it actually made ChatGPT's predictions worse.
Wow. So even a global event that seems kind of unrelated can throw off its predictions?
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah.
And this really suggests that ChatGPT, while powerful, it is still limited in its ability to account for the complexities and interconnectedness of real-world events, right?
Right.
Like the Ukraine invasion had this ripple effect on the global economy. And it seems like ChatGPT struggled to fully incorporate that new variable into its model.
It's like it got overwhelmed by trying to like factor in all those sudden changes and uncertainties.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it highlights the fact that even with, massive amounts of data, predicting something as dynamic and unpredictable as the global economy is an incredibly difficult task.
Yeah.
Even for advanced AI.
Yeah. So we've talked about why narratives might work bypassing restrictions, tapping into maybe a deeper cognitive process. But the researchers also, they did something kind of interesting with the training data, right? They gave ChatGPT an update.
They did, yeah. They wanted to see what would happen if ChatGPT had access to information from 2022 and 2023.
Okay.
Essentially allowing it to make what they called past casts rather than predictions.
So they were giving it the answers and seeing if it could like connect the dots?
Exactly. And the results were pretty striking. With that updated data, ChatGPT-4's accuracy, it improved significantly, particularly when using that narrative prompting style.
So the more information it has, the better it gets at predicting events, even if those events are technically in the past.
Right. It underscores the importance of training data in shaping the capabilities of these large language models.
Right.
The more data they have, the more accurate and nuanced their outputs become.
Okay.
And this raises the question, what will happen as these models are fed even more data,
Right.
encompassing more events, more complexities? Will their predictive abilities continue to improve?
It's exciting and a little unnerving to think about.
Yeah.
Imagine a future where AI can accurately predict everything. Election results, stock market fluctuations, natural disasters.
Yeah, the potential benefits are huge, but so are the potential risks.
Yeah.
We really need to think carefully about how we develop and deploy these technologies, ensuring that they're used responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely.
But getting back to the research, they did find this one kind of puzzling inconsistency, even with that updated training data.
Oh, right. Something about unemployment and inflation.
Yeah. So even with the updated data, ChatGPT-4 could perfectly predict unemployment numbers for each month of 2022.
Oh.
But it still struggled with inflation.
That's strange. Why would it excel at one and then fumble the other? Especially when it now had the answers.
Right. And this raises an important question about the nature of these indicators themselves. Unemployment, at least the way it's typically measured, is a fairly straightforward metric.
Okay.
There's a clear definition and a relatively consistent way to collect the data.
But inflation is a bit more slippery, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's measured in various ways. There are these different baskets of goods and services that are considered, and it can be influenced by a multitude of factors.
So it's possible that this inherent complexity is what kind of trips up ChatGPT, even when it has access to the relevant data.
Yeah, it could be. It might be struggling to reconcile the different ways we measure and talk about inflation, leading to these inconsistent predictions, even in a past casting scenario.
So it's not just about having the raw data.
Mhm.
It's about understanding the nuances and the complexities behind the numbers.
Exactly. And it seems that even the most advanced AI still has a way to go in replicating the kind of, holistic contextualized understanding that humans bring to bear when making predictions about these complex systems.
It's a reminder that AI, at least for now, it's still a tool,
Yeah.
not a replacement for human judgment and critical thinking. Okay, so we've seen that ChatGPT can make some really impressive predictions, especially when it comes to things like award shows and even certain economic indicators.
Though, as we've discussed, it's not a perfect oracle, you know?
Right. And it seems like the more complex the system, the more challenging it is for ChatGPT to make accurate predictions.
Yeah.
The economy with all its interconnected variables seems to be particularly tricky.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's the whole question of those narrative prompts.
Right.
It's fascinating that just framing a question as a story can unlock these surprising capabilities within ChatGPT.
It makes you wonder if there's something inherently powerful about narratives, not just for AI, but for human thinking as well, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe storytelling is more than just entertainment.
Right.
Maybe it's a fundamental way that our brains and perhaps artificial minds, make sense of the world, connect the dots, extrapolate possibilities.
It's definitely something to ponder. But let's bring it back to you, the listener. What does all this mean for how we think about the future?
Well, first, I think it's important to approach AI predictions with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
These models are powerful tools, but they're not infallible.
They're still learning, they're evolving, and they're subject to biases based on their training data.
Exactly. So while we can certainly glean insights from AI predictions, we should never just blindly accept them as gospel truth. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Human judgment, critical thinking, and a deep understanding of the systems we're trying to predict are more important than ever in this age of sophisticated AI.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the world of ChatGPT and its potential to, well, predict the future.
It's been quite a journey, exploring the possibilities, the limitations, and the ethical considerations surrounding this rapidly evolving technology.
And we encourage you to continue exploring this topic.
Right.
Stay informed and engage in those crucial conversations about how we want to shape the future alongside AI.
From Hollywood to Wall Street and beyond, it seems the future of prediction is anything but predictable. Until next time on Two Robots Talking.